You get out and you try to make up for those times, but times you can't really make up because when I left the street, my kids was like 6 months old, 1, 2, 4, and 5. And then, for me being incarcerated for almost 30 years, I learned to have uncomfortable conversations, even though if they hurt. These are the conversations that I want to have so I could be able to be a better man, a better grandfather, because I know my kids are grown now.
Welcome to the third episode of Season 3 of the 98% Life After Prison. Our show is dedicated to the vast majority of incarcerated people in North Carolina who are eventually released back into the community, often with almost no money and little support. I'm April Barber Scales.
And I'm Judy Van Wyk, and we have a special show today. A few months ago, my friend Edward Scott, known to most people as Scotzo, approached me about a conversation he wanted to have with his son Terrell. Scotzo spent almost 30 years in prison, and he wanted to talk to Terrell, who was 2 years old when he was incarcerated, about what it was like to grow up without a father. Scotzo wanted me to record the conversation so that people on the inside could hear how important it is to have this kind of difficult conversation with their loved ones. The following is an edited version of the Zoom call between Scotzo and his son Terrell, who is a school teacher living in Chandler, Arizona. So, when did you begin to understand that your father was in prison?
I want to say probably once I started going to school. So probably around 8 years old. Yeah, probably around like 7, 8. That's when I started to question everything.
Can you guys talk about when you first reunited, when you first developed a relationship while you were inside?
For me, I always figured a way to like contact them. Always, it was some type of way. I'm not going to say how I did it, you know what I'm saying, because I don't want to get too much into that, because this is going to the prison system. But anyway, make a long story short, I always found a way to contact them and just to see how they was doing. I never thought about asking them these questions about how you feel about me being missed, me not being there with you. I always asked them how they was doing, how you doing in sports and stuff like that, because I didn't know how to talk about these conversations. I didn't know how to have these conversations. So as I began to grow in prison, I began to understand who I was as a man and my responsibility as a man. And not only that, it pushes me to want to have these type of difficult conversations, not just to figure out what was going on with them, but also to figure out what was going on with me. So it makes me great as well as makes them great, because these are the conversations they need to have with their children, even though he's not incarcerated. But these are the conversations he need to have with his kids, because it gives a child a better understanding about life. We know that as they get older, they're going to do what they want to do anyway. But I feel like it's best to have these conversations just to give them some type of direction. And I always want to know how they really felt about me being incarcerated. What did it do to you emotionally? What have it done to you mentally? Do you have any trauma, for me not being there?
Terrell, you've been in therapy for the last couple of years. That must have come up, your relationship with your father. What can you say about growing up without your father and what that felt like?
And we're gonna be honest.
I think I went through stages. Like the first stage was questioning. The second stage was like anger, just mad at the world, like why, how come not me? And then like when I say when I say anger, I mean like I want to say within those those important years, like teenage to, right before adulthood. Just being angry at the world, just why, and not understanding why am I missing that big part of me. And then the last stage would be just understanding. But still, I still feel, okay, let me just say this. I still feel all the things that the trauma, basically, that's what I was gonna say. Like I still feel those traumatic experiences that I felt when I was a kid. The things that I went through, the things that I lacked. Like to this day, I feel like I'm affected by it, and it shaped who I am in a way, and it shaped how I operate with my kids in a way. Like, just not seeing or not feeling what it's like to like have, a father or be there like for my kids. So I like fight it sometimes when I just want to be alone and I just want to be by myself, and my kids just want all every part of me. Because like even with my mom, she was there, but she really wasn't there when it comes to like the hugs, the kisses, you know what I mean? Like I didn't have that. I didn't have parents that would, pick me up and like just stuff like that. Like because she was always, going through what she was going through. And then talking to my mom, I hear like how she was affected by her parents. So I understand that it's like a generational thing. Like, whatever she went through is how she raised us. And then whatever we went through is how we raise our children. So I realized that I'm trying to like, fight these things off and change the narrative in a way, like not allow it to affect my children how I was affected when I was a kid.
So you missed the guidance, not only the love, but the guidance that a parent could give you, it sounds
Yeah.
like.
Yeah, I talked to me and my friends, like, so when we moved to Chandler, Arizona, I met a couple friends and we were all like going through the same thing. We all didn't have a dad. We all were, not well off, weren't rich, didn't have a lot of money, but like we had each other. So I feel like in a sense, like we kind of like raised each other, help each other like figure it out. And I was talking to my friend yesterday, and it was just like the all the stuff that we've been through, it formed who we are, like, and it made us like strong, because like we had to like, I don't want to say fend for ourselves because our parents were there, but mentally we had to fend for ourselves because we had to figure it out. We didn't have nobody showing us the way, showing us the ropes. Like it made me who I am today. Like,
I can understand a little bit of how you feel because, I grew up without a father. I mean, I didn't meet my father till he was like seven. Till I was like 17 years old, and he was out in the street. He was in the world. I know. So I was incarcerated. You know what I mean? So it was just more like conversation that I could bring to the table more than that. He was physically free, and he didn't take time out really to to come and see me. I'm not gonna say it didn't shape me, but what I think it did, what his situation was, it kind of ruined me a little bit because I had to fend for myself. So I allowed my environment to be a big part of my destruction. You know what I'm saying? What's so good about your situation? Even though I was gone, you didn't allow your environment to tear you down. You was continuously elevating. You know what I'm saying? Without a dab. So you became a man when you was 7 or 8 years old. You was molding yourself to become a man then. So I salute you for that. You know what I'm saying? But my situation, I felt like with my mom and me only being the only son from my mother, that we were struggling, and I wanted better for us. So it was like it no, any means necessary.
Yeah, like my brother was really like he was like a father for real, like just because he was so beyond his years,
Yeah.
and like he just was different, and like was mentally strong, and like I looked up to him like wow, like she's like that's what I want, like that's how I want to be. Not having a dad was hard, but like he made it easier because like he gave me something to look to and look at and to see and to like strive to be. And he always told me like his words just like they stick to me like glue to this day. And he just always remind me like just be strong. You know what I'm saying? You can't be weak. You gotta make it happen for the family. And yeah, like my brother was really like a dad to me for real. Even though he was only a year older than me, but it's just the things that he said and things that he did helped me grow in like tremendous ways. Everything happened for a reason. There's no mistakes in life. And what I've been through and me not having a dad formed who I am, it was for a reason. It wasn't just because it allowed me to become who I am today. Now I can do what I have to do and help other kids along my way within my purpose. Like, so I make it a point. I make it a point to give back in that way. And that's why God put me in the classroom and teaching 30 kids like in a year and then having a bunch of kids in my classroom without a dad, so now I can like give them what they need mentally and help them understand and get through what they feeling and how they feel because I see myself in them and I'm able to help them like through the traumas and the lack thereof and everything that they're going through. So I know it all happened for a reason. And yeah.
You've done a lot of work on yourself. When did you start to make that transition between anger and abandonment and all of that, which is totally understandable, to beginning to understand?
When I lost my brother, because like, he was only 1 year older than me, so we were always together. We was always me and him. And when I lost him and I seen him laying in the casket, and I just knew from that point, like my life would never be the same. I knew that I would go through a lot of like changes. I knew that. And like my brother was like the type of person that he was just so deep that he taught me about manifestation. He taught me about meditating. He taught me about visualization. And I don't even think he knew how powerful he was because he, didn't really like he used it in a good way, but also he didn't have the time to really like tap into to himself. So I feel like he kind of like gave me the torch, and then I took it a step further, and then I went within myself, and then unlocked myself. So he like really he helped me like free myself. And yeah, when I lost my brother, that's when everything started to shift. And through the years, that's when, I just started to go inside internally. And I thank God, like, he he knew that I needed, like,
Take your
I'm
time.
sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah, but yeah, God knew. He knew everything that I needed, and he allowed me to to just see things, and then he just started to work on me. And from that moment, like until now, like it's been a spiritual like journey to understanding.
Ricky was a star football player at Clark University in Atlanta. He'd been recruited by a semi-pro team in the Canadian Football League. Ricky wanted to have a little fun to de-stress and went to a party. There was an altercation at the party. He tried to intervene, and unfortunately, Ricky was shot and killed.
Following Ricky's death, Scotso came up with the idea for a group he called Wounded Healers. He shared his vision with prison volunteer and friend Tom McQuiston, who'd also tragically lost his son. Today, Wounded Healers is a statewide organization led by formerly incarcerated men and women who've trained as peer support specialists to embrace and support others returning to the community from prison. Let's listen to the second part of the conversation between Scotso and his son Terrell.
It's difficult to talk about it. So, but I still try to carry his name, and that's the reason why I tried to create Wounded Healers. It was like a dedication to him, because how strong he was as a young man and what he wanted in life, and he would love for me to help other people that was in the situation that he was in. You know what I mean? So that's why I created Wounded Healers. That's why I sat with Tom and talked to Tom about Wounded Healers for his son and for my son. That was the whole foundation of Wounded Healers. I can remember talking to him because we used to talk a lot, and I can remember me talking to him. He was telling me, his success. That he said, "Dad, he called me Pop." He said, "Pop, you know what? I'm finna get you out of there, man. I'm finna go to the pros. I'm finna get you out of there." And it was funny, right? Because I was saying, "Man, just be great, man. That's all. Just be great. I'm gonna be okay. You know what I mean? I'm gonna be okay." He said, "Man, I'm playing for two." He said, "I'm playing for God first, family, and I'm getting you out of there." I can remember he told me that.
He had a son, and like his son just came into my life like 2 years ago. And when I seen him, I was like, yo, like he looks just like him. Like look, split an image. And once I like met him, it was like a feeling of like relief. Like in the, like in the physical my brother's with me now. If that makes sense. Like I lacked him in the physical before his son came into my life. And then once his son came into my life, I was like, wow, like you look just like him. Like I had a feeling of that feeling went away. The lack of him being in the physical. My brother was big, like short but stocky. And so his son looking just like him, like short, stocky, starting to get all strong and so I'm like, wow, that's wild. But yeah, I just love it. I love it because I'm able to like give him everything his father gave me. And I'll be telling him like this stuff, like everything that I'm telling you, your father like put that in me. So now I can give it to you. And then so you now you be great. Like go be great. And then you pick it up and then just take it further, you know? Yeah. And he's been through his own internal battles, like, his my nephew, like he basically raised himself in the last 6 years. Like his mom was always working mentally. Like, I realized that he needed so much because he lacked so much. So, but now he's at a point where it's just like, he's starting to understand it. And he has like this glow behind him. And I'm just like, I see it. I know he's going to be great. He's going to be great.
It sounds like he's kind of manifesting his father.
Yeah. And I know that he's sticking close to me because I know that it's a feeling that he gets. Him being around me is him being that much close to his father. And I know he don't say it, but I know it. I know because when I first met him, he's like, man, you look just like my dad. And I was like,
Crazy. He told me the same thing. But you know what?
you look like Ricky look like you.
Yeah, he told me the same thing. But you know what though? He sticks by you because he know that you understands him. And you take time out,
Yeah.
you take time out to break it down to him so that he understand, you know what I'm saying, what he's going through. He know that he knows that he needs that strong father figure, uncle figure in his life to be able to grow. Because if he didn't know that, he would have been left. If he didn't realize that, he would have been left.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So he know what he
Um,
needs. He's young, but he know what he needs. You know what I'm saying? And he's not
Yeah.
gonna go nowhere as long as you continue to do what you do. Because I have to say this one thing about you. I know this is true, Miss Judy. This young man right here gonna make sure that the family is together. But them kids, he gonna grab all the kids, right? And he gonna take them somewhere. He gonna make sure that the family's together. He has so much of his great grandparents in him that he don't even realize. I'm talking about my grandparents. He has so much of them in him, because that's how they was. When he was little, I don't know if you remember this or not, but he was little. They used to go get his sister, and his brother, and his other youngest brother, and bring them down to North Carolina every
I
summer
remember.
to visit me.
I remember now. Now that you say that, I remember sitting in the truck and like just looking around, like, cause I was a city kid. Like I'm from New York, and like it's just we just in the middle of nowhere and trees everywhere. Yeah, like country, like. But it's wild that like formed me too. Like you know, God like always put me in so many different places. Like yeah, and it's yeah. I don't want to. I'm everywhere.
I have a question.
Uh,
When did the two of you connect or reconnect?
well, like I said earlier, in the conversation, I always found the way to try to connect with them. But when I got out, he brought his son and his girlfriend that he was with at the time, his son's mother, to come visit me when I was at STSG. And they came to visit me, and they stayed in the hotel not too far from the transitional house. That was the first time that I have seen him since he was a little boy, and it was so, to me, it wasn't difficult, but it was strange a little strange because the last time I seen him he was little, and now to see him as a grown man with his son, his family, it was like wow, you know what I mean? And the things that he was doing, and he was telling me about the stuff that he was doing, what I'm saying, I was proud. I was really proud to have a son that really growed up. Even though I wasn't there, he growed up to be the man that he has become. You know what I'm saying? But he has become a great man, and my son was to pass away would have been awesome. You know what I mean? He was becoming to be a great leader. He was a leader. You know what I mean? For all the kids, his sisters, his brothers, his nieces, his all of them. He was just a leader. But yeah, when we connected, it was a wonderful thing. It really was. It was an amazing thing just to see him become the man that he has become.
Terrell, I mean, obviously you had some connection to your father that you wanted to travel from Arizona to come see him. So, what was that like for you?
It was a lot. It was a lot. Like, cause it was like, wow, like I'm an adult now, but like with all these years, and then I'm just like, now is the time that I meet the person that like brought me here, that made me. So it was just like so many different mixed emotions like going through my head. And yeah, like I'd be happy for a second, and then I'd be like angry for a second, and then I'd be like sad, and then like I was really everywhere. But like when I seen him it was it's crazy when I seen him. Like I seen my brother, just how he looked. Like that's just how my brother was. Short and stocky. He just had long hair. That was it. That was the difference. But yeah, I was just like, wow, like this is my creator from the creator.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
glad you cleared that up. I'm glad you cleared that up creative part. You can't give me that much power.
Yeah.
But I'm thankful for all my children. I mean, um, you know, we all have different lives that we have to live, and all my children are living their lives the best way they can, and they doing a great job. Even though you might don't have that much, but we doing a great job living the way we're living. I mean, they're still striving, they're still pushing, they're still trying to elevate every day to be the best that we could be every single day. All my kids is like that. I mean, and that's one thing I see a lot of that in them that was in me. Every day I'm trying my best to try to figure out how to elevate and how to make things more greater for my family, my children, my grandchildren. So every day I try that. It's not just about me no more. It's about, leaving some type of um, generational wealth behind some type of way. I'm trying to figure it out. And I am going to figure it out. It's just a matter of time.
I do want to say that I'm appreciative of being able to witness how strong you are. Like that's a long time to be within the confines of a prison. Like, and I see what that can do to people. And the fact that you made it out and you are the way you are is I don't know. It just leaves me in awe. Like wow, like strong you are. Like because I know that could break people, breaks people, and it changes them. And yeah, I always think of that, like how, like I'll say how, ask myself how did you do it, but then I'll remind myself of how you did it, because I know that you know what I mean. I know that God like has His hand over you, just like He has His hand over me, and and then at that moment I appreciate it. I appreciate knowing how where I come from, that power. And so I use that power within my life. And I live my life like that, knowing that how powerful I am and that I can make it anywhere. You can put me anywhere and I'm gonna make it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I really want to thank both of you for allowing me to be present to this conversation. It's been, to me, this has been very moving, and I I have so much respect and affection for you.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you, Judy.
and I can see your father in you a lot. I can see that, Terrell, and that's a very big compliment.
Thank you.
And
I
thank you
appreciate you.
thank you for having us. And I hope that, when this goes into the prison system, that a lot of other fathers, and either women too, that because I know they got tablets too, that they have these conversations with their children because it's much needed. Um, it's a healing for both of them, for all the kids and all the parents. It's a healing. It takes a lot of how can I say it? It takes a lot of pressure off you. You know what I mean? It takes a lot of pressure off you because you really don't know how your kids feel. You know what I mean? You don't know, and then while closing it in and not letting it out, it's worse. It's worse for you because now you have another situation that you got to deal with that you never deal with. Then when they lash out to you, now you don't understand why they lashing out. But if you had these conversations now, you can solve all that. So I love you, son. I thank you for being a part of this. I thank you for, because I wanted to hear how you feel. You know what I mean? And it's touching to hear, the stories that you have told me, Miss Judy, about how you really feel. You know what I mean? But at the same time, it's sad to me because, I should have been there. But God made no mistakes. Everything happened for a reason. You even said that too. You know what I'm saying? But I am sorry that I left you guys. And not being there for y'all football games and take y'all to different places and family vacations and stuff like that. But you did a good job though, man. Through the grace of God, you did a real good job, and I'm proud of you.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
There's one more thing Scotso would like us to know about his son Terrell, something that wasn't mentioned during their conversation. That's the fact that Terrell supported not only his nephew after his brother died, he also helped his siblings find their way through the grief of losing Ricky. As Scotso says, Terrell is the rock. He's the one that holds the family together.
Terrell is their rock. Who is the one person that's the go-to person in your family? Who is the rock that holds your family together? That's our show for today. Join us for the next episode when we explore the burdensome system of fines and fees that come with being incarcerated in North Carolina. In the meantime, if you want to reach out, you can email us at 98%.lifeafter@gmail.com. Again, that's 98%.lifeafter@gmail.com. We hope you like our show and that you'll tell your friends to tune in to the 98% Life After Prison podcast.
As we close out, we want to leave you with something that Scotso said, something that really struck me.
I mean, I enjoy looking at myself in the mirror today. It ain't like, like 40 years ago, you look in the mirror, it's like you don't see nothing. But now I see a lot. I see me, I see who I am, I see the drive, I see my purpose. So, I love who I am today.